I'm not a very lustful person. This always confuses people, okay? People can't really seem to comprehend the fact that I don't think about lustful things. I don't think about intimacy in the way that most men do. Now, this is obviously from the outside looking in, and this is a very broad generalization, but I assume that most men spend a good portion of their day thinking about sex. And while I'm not one to assume things, I don't think that this assumption is misguided. Okay, I think that it's embedded within the nature of men to think about sex because on a deeper level, you want to reproduce. But I don't fit into that category. Okay, and that's the reason why I'm able to do things like nofap and retention and, not relapse. I'm able to go on very long streaks, and that's why, I was able to go 20 years before I lost my V card and be perfectly fine and secure within that because I'm not a lustful person. But understand that me not being lustful is not by accident. Okay, I used to think that that's just the way I was. It was just not my nature to be lustful. But who am I to say that my nature as a human is any different than any other person's nature? Okay, at the end of the day, I'm still human. But I think that the way that I was raised and, me implementing the things that I'm about to tell you guys definitely shaped the way that I view not only women and lust, but the world in general. So, with that being said, the first thing that you can do to overcome lust is meditate. Now, this serves as the foundation for overcoming lust. This is why I believe that if you're going to do retention, if you're going to do nofap, you need to start meditating. Okay, because this is how you overcome lust, because you're taking your thoughts to a deeper level. People always ask me how I'm able to, produce videos every single day. I'm able to produce an insightful video every single day and bring value. And how am I so wise at such a young age? And obviously, I'm not saying this to gas myself up. This is what other people are saying. Okay, so the reason why I'm able to do these things and the reason why I am the way that I am is because I've been meditating for over half of my life. Okay, and when you meditate, what you're doing is you're being present with your thoughts. You're developing mental clarity. And I've said this in previous videos, but mental clarity is not what most of you think it is. Okay, mental clarity is not the absence of thoughts, but rather it is the understanding of thoughts. Okay, I understand my thoughts very well. I'm a very self-aware person, and I'm a very introspective person. Because when you meditate, that's what you're doing. You're doing introspection. You're shutting out the outside world, and you're focusing all of your energy and attention on your inner state of being. Okay, and as a result, when you do this for a long period of time consistently, you're going to naturally become a deep thinker. Okay, so while most men are thinking about sex, I'm thinking about deeper topics. I'm thinking about manifestation. I'm asking questions. Why is life the way that it is? I think about these things a lot. I think about the nature of existence. I'm not thinking about the nature of humans. I'm thinking about the nature of my spirit, of my soul. And that takes me to the next thing that you can do to overcome lust. And that is to stop living through your ego and start living through your soul. Now, this is going to be very, very difficult for people to understand, especially if you've been accustomed to living in your ego for your whole life. Okay, and I think that this is especially a problem with men because the idea of masculinity, traditional masculinity, is rooted in the ego. Now, I'm not saying that you need to eliminate your ego. Obviously, that's not possible if you're going to exist here in this realm. But you need to understand yourself for what you truly are. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Okay, and when you learn that, you begin to overcome human nature. Okay, you begin to move past human nature because your thoughts transcend your instincts. Okay, for example, as men, the reason why we want to reproduce, the reason why we are lustful is because we want to preserve ourselves. Okay, and at a certain point, we realize that the only way to do that is to spread our DNA. Okay, we want to spread our seed so that we can live on. The ego's primary job is self-preservation. It wants to preserve itself and by extension, preserve you. And that's why, lust is a thing. That's why you want to have sex. And sex is not a bad thing. Don't get me wrong. Sex can be a very beautiful thing. And obviously, I want to have kids. But at the same time, when you go through your spiritual awakening, or you do psychedelics, or whatever you need to do to get to that perspective, that broad perspective of oneness, where you transcend your identity, you transcend your ego, what you'll realize is that death is an illusion. Okay, so you don't need to preserve anything because you'll always be here. You're always going to exist. Existence is inevitable. No matter what you do, you can't escape that. So in knowing that, all of a sudden, that desire for sex, that desire to spread your seed, that desire begins to die down a little bit because you see beyond it. Now, the next thing that you can do to overcome lust is to get on semen retention. Now, I know that sounds very counterintuitive. Okay, it sounds counterintuitive because when you deprive yourself of something, specifically a pleasurable experience, of course, your mind is going to desire it even stronger. And that is true at first. At first, your mind will desire it even more than before. The urges will be stronger than you've ever felt in your life. But once you learn to transcend that, once you learn to overcome that and start doing some introspection and start thinking on a deeper level than what you feel physically, your mind and your body are going to get the message that that's not where your mind is right now. That's not what you're focused on. Okay, so naturally your body is going to start to take that energy and put it elsewhere. You're going to be able to master your inner dialogue, master your thoughts, and you'll be able to act accordingly. And I'll get into transmutation later on in the video. But the next thing that you can do to overcome lust is delete social media and stop watching pornography. Okay, I talk a lot about both of these things, and there's a reason for that. Okay, just doing these two things right here, you really don't understand how much exposure you have subconsciously to artificial stimulation. Okay, when you see a good-looking girl on that screen, that girl is not right there in front of you. Okay, so you're eliciting these feelings within you, your body is releasing these chemicals, but you're not actually doing anything. Okay, you're basically teasing yourself at that point. You're mentally edging. And not only that, but social media is largely very surface level. It is very shallow. Okay, people are worried about very material surface level things on social media. And what you have to understand is that even if you're not like that, if you're constantly consuming that subconsciously, your mind is going to begin to adopt those belief systems. Okay, you have to be protective of your energy. A lot of spiritual YouTubers say protect your energy, but I feel like most people don't really know what that means. Okay, to protect your energy, you have to be mindful of what you're consuming. Just like with your diet, your physical diet, you want to eat healthy to have a healthy body. In the same way, you need to be mindful of your mental diet and your spiritual diet because those can be just as damaging, if not more damaging, than eating junk food, if you're not careful of what you're consuming. So be mindful of the things that you consume, getting off of social media, not watching pornography. That right there is going to be about 75% of the battle for most people watching this video. The next thing that you can do to overcome lust is to journal. Okay, now journaling goes right along with meditation. I talk about journaling a lot actually, but journaling really helps develop self-awareness. Okay, you need to have self-awareness if you want to transcend lust. And part of that is looking within, and you can do that by meditating. But another part of that is expressing your inner dialogue. Okay, so on one hand, meditation is essentially, looking within and analyzing your inner dialogue. Whereas journaling, especially for people who aren't used to meditating, journaling allows you to express your inner dialogue and see it right there in front of you. It allows you to provide a visual for what's going on in your mind. But you have to take the time to analyze your thoughts. Okay, if you know that you're thinking very lustful thoughts, there's probably a reason for that. You have to dig down the rabbit hole and find out the foundation of these thoughts. Now, the next thing that you can do to overcome lust is transmute your lust. Okay, at the end of the day, Like I said, we are human. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So you have to honor that human experience and understand that lust will be there. Okay, lust is always going to be there, but you have to learn to transmute it. Okay, all of the things that I've listed off in this video, those things help you develop self-awareness. They help you develop mental clarity. They help you understand your inner dialogue, understand your thoughts, and embrace your thoughts. Those things will all help you master yourself. And it is only through self-mastery that you'll be able to transmute that desire. Okay, now understand that sexual energy and lust is one of the most potent, powerful desires that you can feel as a man. Because at the end of the day, it's all rooted in self-preservation. You want to preserve yourself, your life. And part of that is building. Okay, you want to create things. So instead of creating children, in the meantime at least, like I said, I want to have kids myself. But if you know that that's not where your head is right now and you're trying to overcome lust, you have to take that energy and build something with it. This is why it's very important to get on your purpose. A lot of nofap YouTubers, a lot of semen retention YouTubers, they tell you to get on your purpose. And that's for a reason. Because if you try and practice these things, if you try to, overcome lust, but you're not doing anything, you're not building anything, you're never going to be able to transcend lust because you're not building something that means more to you than lust. Like I said, your ego wants to preserve itself. So you have to learn to negotiate with it. We're not getting rid of the ego. You can't get rid of the ego. But what you can do is work with it and integrate it into your overall master plan. And you can build something that will outlive you. With me, I'm building my brand. I'm building my brand through YouTube. I'm building my brand through other things that I'm working on that you guys will see probably in the near future. Okay, I'm building, but most importantly, I'm building myself. And I'm building you guys as well. I want to help you guys build yourselves rather. Okay, I want to make the world a better place. I want to help aid in the universe's expansion. But the only way to do that is by building. And the only way to do that is by transmutation. I'm taking the lust that I have and I'm placing it in other areas that are more conducive to my overall life's purpose. And I'm doing that by developing self-awareness by doing all of the things that I've listed off in this video.